Hi, my name is Aryeh Kaplan, and today I will be giving over a story written by Rabbi Nachman of Breslov called KAPTZIN PASHA. So here it goes. There was once a time where there was a court Jew that was really loved by one of the Turkish sultans, and every day they would hang out together, they would drink tea together, and they would be very, very close friends. And eventually, the workers in the palace of the sultan grew deeply jealous of this bond between the Jew and the sultan. And so they would always devise plans to topple him over and to make the Jew fall from his lofty situation with the connection with the Sultan. So as time went on, eventually there was this one Pasha called KAPTZIN Pasha that was the most jealous of them all. And eventually he went over to the Jew the day before one of the times that he was supposed to go over to the Sultans and hang out. And he told him, listen, I know that you have a great connection with the Sultan, but I have to tell you something. He doesn't want to offend you, but he says you have horrible breath, and he can't bear it. He can't bear it anymore. But he doesn't want to do this. Doesn't want he can't muster up the strength to tell you this. So maybe you could find a way to deal with this situation. So because your breath is so horrible. So the Jew he took in the Pasha's words, and he devised an idea that he would take a cloth, a handkerchief, and he would douse it with all sorts of perfumes. And then when he'd go to the king, to the Sultan, and then the next day he would hold it over his mouth, and he would speak, and hopefully that would solve the issue. So he devised this plan, and at the same time, that same day, the Pasha went over to the Sultan and said, "You know what, Sultan? I overheard the Jew saying you have horrible breath, such bad breath, and he's gonna show up tomorrow with a handkerchief over his mouth, doused with perfume, just so that he could save himself from your awful breath. And I don't want to disrespect you, O great Sultan, but this is the truth. This is what's gonna happen, and I just wanted to share this with you." Obviously, this Pasha's intentions was to win over the Sultan's favor. And so the Sultan said if this is true, he will deal with the Jew quickly and swiftly, with great might. And so the Pasha continued on his way. The next day came up, and lo and behold, you see the Jew showing up, sitting with the Sultan, and he has a handkerchief on his mouth. And the Sultan's furious, he's turning red, and the Jew doesn't understand what's going on. He thinks maybe the Sultan's maybe a little sick, maybe something came up, maybe he's a busy man, maybe there's something happening in the kingdom. So the Sultan eventually takes out a notebook, and he writes down a note. And he writes in the note that the beholder of this note, whoever delivers it, shall be beheaded at once. And he took the note, he sealed it with his signet ring, and he put it in an envelope, and he gave it to the unknowing Jew. And he told him like this: "Please, after we're done hanging out today, if you could deliver this letter for me, it would be a great help. It's very urgent." And at the time, there was an executioner, and this executioner was an unknown person in the village. He would hide his identity for obvious reasons, and he would deal with all the executions in the city at the time. And so the Sultan put the address of the executioner. So on the way out, the Jew is going. It's a few hours away, somewhere in the city, and he's looking for the address. Eventually, midway there, midway to the house to deliver the letter, a father of a newborn baby boy stops this Jew on his way and says, listen, my son, he needs a mohel. The one that we had is sick, and it's the 8th day of the time of the Brit Milah. We need someone." And this was Ashkal Prati, divine providence, because this man that was asked, the Jew that was on the way to bring that letter, was himself. He was a mohel, and he took this stringency upon himself that anyone who would need a Brit Milah, he would stop everything he's doing to go and do this mitzvah. And this has been a family tradition in his family, that he would pass on from one to another, that they would all be stringent on this, and that they would be a mohel when called for, and they would stop everything they would be doing. So long story short, he's about to accept and go on in his way, and guess who walks by? This KAPTZIN Pasha, the one who gave the idea for the handkerchief, the one who convinced the Sultan that the Jew was horrified and disgusted with his bad breath. And so he passes, and he sees what's going on, and he's like, "What the heck? The Jew's not going to do what the Sultan is asking from him? Oh my gosh, I'm winning double today. Now I also get to tell the Sultan that the Jew didn't do his job. He didn't deliver the letter that he was supposed to deliver." And so the Pasha got this bright idea to ask the Jew if he could commit this act for him, if he could bring the letter for the Sultan, so that obviously the Pasha could win favor in the Sultan's eyes. So the Jew saw this to be a great idea, so he gave him the letter, and the Sultan's on his way now. And he goes, and the Sultan gives the letter to the man of the house. The man of the house opens the letter, obviously reads the letter quickly, grabs the Pasha by the throat, and cuts off his head on the spot. Then, obviously, the Jew, he does the Brit Milah. The next day comes around. The KAPTZIN Pasha is nowhere to be found, and all of a sudden the Jew's showing up to the Sultan's house for a cup of tea. He's showing up. And the Sultan's dumbstruck. He doesn't know what's happening. He's like, this Jew is supposed to be dead right now. Why is he still here? So he sees that there's something going on here. And so he goes and he sits with the Jew, and eventually he asks the Jew, what happened with the letter? So he said, I'm a mohel and I took a stringency and I had to go do it, and all of a sudden the Pasha showed up, and so I gave him the letter to deliver on your behalf. And he was like, what's going on with this? And then he asks him, so tell me something. Now the Pasha's not here, but you're here. Why is it that you had a handkerchief above your mouth when you were speaking to me the other day? He said, well, listen, Sultan, great Sultan, I didn't want to offend you, and the Pasha said that you had horrible breath, that I had horrible breath, so you didn't want to be bothered with that, so I put a handkerchief with perfume, just like he advised, not to bother you. And so the Sultan started crying, and he said, woe to the enemies of the Jews, for the God is the friend of the Jew. God is with them wherever they go. Whoever attacks or plans against the Jew, they will be toppled. And he embraced the Jew and he gave him a deep hug, and they embraced one another and they were joyous. And eventually the Sultan revealed to the Jew what had happened. And this, the moral of the story, there's many morals we could take from this, but one of them is that when Hashem gives a mitzvah to a Jew, Hashem is with us and He's going to protect us on our journey, on the pursuit, the fulfillment, whether we do it or not. Just the desire, just the slight travel to get to the destination of the mitzvah is what's cherished for Hashem, and He will protect us on our way to it. And with this, I want to let you go with that beautiful story, and may you share the story with your friends, your family. This story was in the honor of the Refuah Shelema of Avram ben Rachma and Shlomo Raphael ben Anet, and all Am Yisrael. May everybody be healthy and happy and successful in this year of toughness. May it be all turned around. And thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.